And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Alien Spaceship stream. You can be watching from anywhere around the country or the world. And I really appreciate every single one of you coming to you from the Spaceship Studios from a galaxy far, far away. Alright, and now switching over to the other screen. This. Okay. This way. Alright, hello everybody. Hope everybody's been having a good day, good evening, good afternoon, wherever y'all are at. And tonight we are going to be going down some more rabbit holes, talking about some more conspiracy stuff like we did yesterday. And so I've been, seeing some interesting things on aliens, UFOs, etc. Hello, Aaron. Oh, it's always great to see you. Welcome. And there's the sleepy pirate. Right there. Alright, and yeah, so I was, earlier was seeing some different things on the aliens from from the South Africa incident. The kids that were being interviewed. Yeah. Because there was some aliens that allegedly went to South Africa. There's a sighting that happened and the kids were talking about it. Yeah. So that was something cool, and I saw this other interview about this man that saw the aliens, who had an experience with the aliens from a secret base. It was a different one than the other guy. He got into a fight with them. So that was it's an interesting story, I'll say. The person allegedly deleted themselves, but I don't know if they really deleted themselves or somebody helped them out with that. Yeah. It seems like a lot of these conspiracy theories are correct, and also, Aaron, I think it's good the way you have your little area set up, because in my opinion, a lot of the food that is consumed usually is processed, etc. So it's good to be as self-reliant as possible. And this is a tavern. That's a pirate flag. And these are where all the card games are going on. Alright, there's something to get in a moment. Just be 1 second. Right. Yeah, and okay, Aaron says I'm too emotionally unregulated for most of these things in the news. Right, right. And I just think that a lot of this stuff of, like, for instance, the different things with the aliens and these other conspiracy theories are, I think they would make better movies than a lot of the movies that we see coming out now, if they're true or not. That's something that I think is a fact right there. There's a lot of now there are good TV shows and movies, etc. Now, Aaron, have you seen any good movies recently? Or watched anything like that on the TV? I'm just curious. There's a lot of things that I think that are on cable or on a lot of these different platforms. They're not like how they used to be. I'm not saying all shows are bad, but they're certainly a lot of them are just generic. Because see, a lot of times people do things for getting money or profit out of something over actually making something good. Yeah, and I don't need a sale really, but the pirate's gonna go to the volcano island, something that I didn't review in a while. Done a while. Right, he's sailing because now something about the let's see. Okay, don't watch much lately. I just watch reruns of The Office or Superstore. I need to laugh. It's my coping mechanism. Ah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. That is good. That is good. You know what? Of ornate Bargatz. Yeah. Oh, The Office is good. That's a funny show. I've only seen that those like on YouTube, a while on YouTube, and as I don't think I saw it when it was like when it was on TV or much when it was happening, but I saw the reruns of it. Yeah, it's funny. I know there's another older show called Friends that people like to watch. Uh, Seinfeld's another one. Those kind of shows like that they're funny. Yeah, it's good to balance the heaviness outside. Yeah, because there's a lot of messed up things going on in world, etc. And it's not cool, right? Ah, an older show. Oh, you're killing me. Right, scared. Yeah, and yeah, I will say that yeah, shows that are yeah. Okay, and it's when humor could be funny and not everyone got butted or everything. Yeah, so well, I think shows can be timeless. For instance, there were in recent times people used to be not as offended by say television and media. Like people can make a joke or talk about a controversial topic and people could take the humor from it. The other day, some friends and I were talking about the Airplane movie a few years ago that was out, and I saw reruns of that movie. That had all kinds of humor in it that would not be probably allowed now. But when people want to be more correct about things, that's when it got bad because you've actually regressed the entertainment and the humor because people would take it too seriously than they did before. Right. As I even, for instance, kids' cartoons would be more scary than they are now. You know, like last week, it just seems like a week ago it changed where everybody would get offended over certain stuff in TV and movies, etc. So it's nice to see the it's nice to see the shows that didn't go in that direction of being correct about everything. And it's a way of control because there's societal control that people try to do to push their a lot of times political agendas. And I'm being attacked by this dude for no reason. Let's see. Out of nowhere, this dude just attacked me. Out of nowhere, it's like he's a burglar. Okay, where is he? Okay, swinging. Where is he? There he is. Yeah, this is something has not happened to me before here. It's an ambush. Okay, Aaron, understood. All right, took him out, and that is good. Okay. Hello, Glow. Good to see you. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, and I think that music has changed too. Also, over time, I think everything has changed recently. All right, so going into this cave. All right, now in the lava gorge. Let's see. It's been a while since I have been in here. All right, they have quite a bit of zombies, these pirate zombies in here. All right. I like the way they have the candle lighting. Okay. Okay, and Glow says, I love rap hip hop, but this music is trash in my opinion. Okay. Okay. Now with rap music, I think there's different eras of rap music where at one time, which I think is what you're referring to, is young probably think otherwise. It depends on the what the song is, because I do think there is some rap music that is not good, doesn't have a good message behind it. It depends on the which song it is, like what it's about. I do think that rap music and other ones too is, other music as well besides rap. It's of not promoting good things, I'd say. And we talked about on the channel about occultic stuff that is going on in the media, etc. Some people may not believe in that or not, but there's certain, yes, certain symbolism that's happening. That's not really good either. It's So I think it's messed up all the way around. But yeah, so rap music, when I was coming up, I heard some of it from the '90s, '80s, and it wasn't like the type they have now. Let's just say. Oh, okay, okay. You can't even stand them now, right? Right. There is some violence in cities and neighborhoods, etc. And when I felt like the music was glorifying it, but people that like are living in those situations, it's not really good for them to go through that. The murdering people, the drugs. It's it's something that's more of a plague to communities over something that should be like glorified. People can express themselves, but it's it's not something to be romanticized. Like say, although like pirates, for instance, are technically bad, they're somehow able to make it of into a fantasy thing where it didn't cause people to do things that were wrong. But the the rap stuff of some of the soundtracks in it, it can be definitely romanticizing things that aren't good. I think there is a time the Godfather movie came out, people wanted to emulate that from the Italian community, but that wasn't really a good thing that the Italians got into either, because a lot of people were died, deleted, and it's something of like an endless cycle of destruction. It seems, yeah, and it's all to make money. It's all about profits. That's all they care about. As they're trying to be as trying to get lucrative as possible, and by being lucrative, they they're selling their soul literally and figuratively, and their audience into something bad, right? Yeah, 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 yeah. There's some other things happening with the industry, especially with the new stuff that has been coming out about Epstein files. It seems a lot of these people, these famous people, knew him, and it's kind of like what all the conspiracy theories were talking about. So that's another thing that some of them are associated with that isn't right. Yeah. Right. There's a materialism that I think is promoted also. So say like they'll have nothing wrong with having money or having wealth. It's good to have that to survive. Nothing wrong with getting yourself something nice if it's sometimes, but these people I think will have these mansions, etc., and these videos that will glorify uh, materialistic things too. Yeah, it's disgusting. Yeah. And and from like a religious perspective, I think that they're promoting things that are not of a godly nature. Also, and even some, I think, demonic stuff sometimes as well. So yeah. So besides the cultural, I'd say, degeneracy and the influencing people to be either drug dealers or influenced by drugs. Uh, there's this other factor of excessive having all these materialistic things too. So it's just they're trying to promote every single bad thing you could possibly promote. Yeah. So definitely, all the music is not good. The industry just wants money, and the rap was back in the past was much different than it is now. But certainly, many people my age and younger are not catching with it, and they're just going with the flow and being given poison. Because if you feel consume things that are not good like that over and over again, it's going to affect them too. Okay, understood. Understood, Glow. Right. And hello, Moki. It is great to see you. Welcome to the stream. I hope that you've been having a good day. And yeah, so I'm going to do a reaction, Moki, to one of the one of the video. Oh, hello, Duke. Great to see you, buddy, as well. We're going to do a reaction to one of the videos that you sent me, Moki, because you sent lots of great material. All right, and I watched the alien interview with the not the alien interview, the one that was talking about the secret, the one that you sent me today, the secret alien stuff. That one I was watching lots of very eye-opening information. It's like imagining of what he was talking about, where there's a cave in the cowboy era, and they just see these gray aliens hanging out in a cave. It must have been hard to explain. Yeah, what they were seeing. Okay, so okay, right. Ah, okay. It all sucks, not music. Okay. Yeah, the underground firefight with the Grays. All right, so we're gonna turn that one on right now, and the MK Ultra one too at some point, either this time or another time. So pretty much everything that you suggest eventually will be reacted to. All right, let's get to that right now. We're gonna get to the dude that saw UFOs. I mean, the alien firefighter. We're going to get to that one right now. Let's go here. Yes, yes. I'm gonna react to both of them. All right. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so right now we're going to react to the Philip Schneider underground secret base. Aliens are distracting from Epstein, and Epstein's distracting from aliens. I imagine, uh, you know, for all we know, right now, Epstein and a gray alien are just watching this, watching the whole world on like a television, and they're both laughing at all of us. Exactly, Mookie. Right. Okay. And of course, we're going to react to these with you present, Mookie, since you sent them to me. We are going to I'm going to do the alien one, and then we will do the MK Ultra one. As I said, with you present, it's possible it could be broken up over different streams, but maybe we'll do it all tonight. Okay. So first one is Philip Schneider. Let's go here. Oh, Moki, Mary Toodles, she was at the... Yeah, okay, so earlier Mary Toodles, not earlier, but the other day Mary Toodles was at the dentist, and she was telling the dentist that Epstein is still alive. And that Maxwell wasn't really Maxwell. So that was pretty cool. That she's spreading the word. All right. All right, here we go. What you're about to watch is going to be kind of far out to some people, but for those that don't believe in it, it's something more entertaining than anything you could watch on cable or streaming services. Okay, and as I said, if these are movies, they would have much better movies than what we have today. Okay. All right, here we go. All right. Yeah, the thing about Epstein is right. The thing about Epstein is that you look at his ear and the nose, it doesn't match his. Same thing with Maxwell. It's just they look like different people. Like it doesn't look like the same person, like biologically. All right, so here we go.
The skins and the coatings and the residues that are used predominantly in the aircraft themselves, in the airframes and the rotor blades and the fans, and in some cases in submarines, special titanium hulls, in the Phoenix class submarines now. All this has come from alien technology. 1947 is what the public has been told. Something crashed in the backyard in New Mexico, a place called Roswell, New Mexico. Unfortunately, that's what the public's been told. The military's known about the alien question for the better part of 70 years, and they first saw their glimpse of what was going on as early as 1909 in the American Southwest. Now, Army cavalry evidently were chasing some bandits, and they entered this cave. They were holed up in a cave, and what they found in there was flying discs and little gray guys and all kinds of weird things, and they didn't know how to explain that, and they wrote them down as best they could, and it's been in secret archives ever since. And it's up down by the Truth or Consequences area of New Mexico. Well, the alien thing is more than just what I'd call a non-visible threat. We on the surface, first of all information dealing with alien or alien reproduced technology or alien reproduced vehicles or any other kinds of things well hidden from the American public. Our black budget, for instance, garners $1.023 trillion every 2 years. It's over $500 billion a year. Right now, there are 131 active deep underground military bases in the United States. There's 1,477 of them worldwide. Each one has an average cost of $17 to $19 billion. Each one is built in the site. It used to be it'd take a year to 2 years to build each one, and now they're capable.
Yeah, Amoki says in '96, Phil was reportedly found with a rubber catheter hose, some sources say piano wire, wrapped tightly around his neck 3 times. That is just so bizarre. That, and he was saying that his death was ruled a suicide. He was talking about how they were trying to assassinate him a couple of times, and eventually, he quote unquote deleted himself, did suicide. They say. I just think it's odd timing for him to take himself out when he was trying to expose an alleged cover-up of some nefarious alien schemes. Yeah, it's very odd timing. Thank you, Moki.
People building a couple of them a year with sophisticated methods. My colleague Al Bielik has actually been on some of the high-speed railways, the magneto-leviton trains that connect all the deep underground military bases within the United States. He's been on a Mach 2 train and floats off of a single rail at 3/4 of an inch off the rail, and is what you'd call high tech. We have nothing like this on the surface. The public basically has been totally lied to. We're considered stupid or even moronic in some cases. It's got to stop. If we're going to gain our country back, we must, and I repeat, must instill in our public officials, anybody that goes and does public service, they must tell us the truth. If they cannot do this, then they must be impeached, or they must be removed from office. If this cannot occur, if the truth cannot totally come out, there are reasons for secrecy, for instance, but if the truth cannot totally come out, what's the use in us having anything called freedom? Okay, now I have pictures here that I'm going to show you during the break and artifacts, and I ask you to kind of look at them but not handle them. I have actual crashed retriever metal from Roswell, New Mexico. It's given to me when I was 14 years old. For instance, I've got other things.
Exactly. If he wasn't doing anything or he was talking nonsense, he would not be bleeding himself, in my opinion. But yeah, so I would say, my opinion, I think they wanted to shut him up, and he did say that they were trying to silence him. It just happens all the time. They want to have that exposed. They don't want this stuff to be exposed, and over time, more has been leaked. But yeah, it's a very him being a suicide that he did. They claim he did was this real off. Yeah, exactly, Chloe.
Pieces of this piece of titanium, a special titanium alloy made for everything from the original SR-71 Blackberry, that's old hat now. F-117A is their old hat now. They're making a whole new class of hypersonic above Mach 5 aircraft that employ extremely modern charged particle beam weapons. They don't even use lasers anymore. Computer-enhanced imaging radar, although it's used in helicopters for public surveillance, computer-enhanced imaging radar, and in satellite technology, the brand new kid on the block is a kind of infrared technology where a satellite.
Okay, and Milky says it has been claimed that His lecture materials, journals, and manuscripts for a book he was writing were missing from his apartment after his death. Ah, that is very, very sus. Schneider had frequently stated in his public lectures that if he were ever found dead, deleted, and it was called a suicide, the public should know he was murdered. Thank you, Moki. Yeah, because I'll just tell you all, these videos, like the other guy we're watching the other night, the one from Area 51, this gentleman right here, and the MK Ultra one I haven't played yet. These would be excellent movies. I do believe they're real. These accounts are real, or there is at least truth to them. But that's how you could tell something is probably more likely to be real if it's uh, just really well done like that. It's something different. Something is so different, off script, so to speak, because a lot of stuff is just for fantasy or for making money. But this wasn't about making money. It was about uh, exposing something that they believed in. Phil Schneider, ex-wife Cynthia Dreyer, has been the primary voice contesting the official suicide ruling. Yeah. That's also. She stated that upon entering his apartment, she found it ransacked. Yeah, it just the ransacking doesn't make any sense. It's like if someone unfortunately takes their life, the ransacking part is kind of like an off-topic thing. Like, what caused that to happen? Like some altercation or something. Like we know from us that watch trials, we've seen some murder scenes, and there's an altercation. There's some kind of ruckus in the house, like a fight that happens when someone's murdered. We've seen that before with the various trials we've watched. So that just shows a sign it was someone maybe doing something. Or say he had assistance with whatever happened to him. Dreyer claimed there were bruises on his body and signs of a struggle that were allegedly ignored or downplayed in the initial autopsy. He said she has spoken about her difficulty obtaining the full autopsy report and the crime scene photos, leading to her believe there was a cover up protecting the government secrets. Oh, I definitely agree with that. This is just totally was not in my opinion it was not a suicide, self deletion. This was deliberately like multiple people trying to fight him and taking him out. A very bizarre suicide. Yeah, it's just like what the mobsters, the mafia did. You know, they did stuff just like that. I only know that because I studied history. It's not that I knew anything specific, but so yeah, they would go and take out people. Like, although we know about JFK and the conspiracy theories about that, the mafia may have had something to do with that too. I wouldn't be surprised if the mafia was the armored force that went in there to do it, because that's what they did. They would, and I do believe the mafia had stuff to do with trafficking people and the prawn stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if they've been tied into these government conspiracies too. Just like a fun fact, not really a fun fact, but a fact nonetheless. So, yeah, but yeah, because the gangsters want to silence witnesses, and like I was talking about Low earlier about how they're glorifying the gang stuff because the gang stuff originates from the mafia Italians. I guess cowboys too to an extent. The old West era too, to an extent, but mostly has to do with the 20s and the 30s, etc. Yeah, so it's just completely just like that. Uh, so that gives more credibility about this stuff being real, and uh, he's not joking, he's not laughing, he's dead serious. I notice a pattern with them. They're all dead serious about what they're talking about. All right, continuing.
Fly to 150,000 miles out in a geosynchronous orbit, or not quite geosynchronous orbit, but these spy satellites can literally look in and see a dime on the floor, say on your kitchen floor. They have a resolution factor of 99.999961. This particular piece of metal, I'm going to drop it on the floor here. It'll kind of ring like a bell. You can't break it. Withstand temperatures in excess of 7,500 degrees Fahrenheit. It has niobium in it. It also has mironite in it, element 123. Yeah, please do. It's in a non-crystalline form. This is just kind of a dripping out of the main crucible. Here's a crystalline example. It's in the scalenohedral crystalline form. We got this from the large grays technology. This is grown in the confines of outer space, which has not quite a super vacuum, but by the way, this is capable of withstanding temperatures in excess of 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. It's great for certain parts of aircraft. This kind of material I work with on a daily basis. Up here we have a transparency of Groom Lake. Groom Lake is where the infamous Area 51, S4, S2, a CIA base, it was originally a bombing range, a nuclear test site. It was later become the most secret base in the United States. It employs over 18,000 workers who work in shifts of 12 hours at a whack. Most of them work in the cover of darkness, like us. We built 9 underground military bases there, each with an average capacity capable of basically a city underground, roughly 4.25 cubic miles hollowed out underground. They have boring machines, for instance.
Shelly, it is so great to see you. Wow. It's a really okay, so I'll say that. Oh, Shelly, I have been doing great. There's a lot of activity going on. We've been doing great on the spaceship, and thank you for dropping by. And I hope you're doing great too. We're doing some reactions to some alien whistleblower. Schneider, is Phil Schneider is his name, and the channel has been growing, doing well, and Moki has been doing excellent with the chat and the channel and the other chat friends too as well. So we're all doing good, and we're talking about different conspiracy theories, etc. And also the Epstein files too. So, and I hope Ricky and the raccoons are also doing great. And thank you for visiting. Yeah, long time. Yeah, long time. Yeah. Moki says his ex said all the stuff that he's showing was missing from his home. Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you for the... yeah, all that's just fishy. Dreyer has highlighted documents from Phil's father, Oscar Schneider, which she claims proves involvement in the Philadelphia experiment. Oh. Yeah, that is... shout out to Moki for getting all this information out. Yeah. I'll say, Moki's an encyclopedia of information, of stuff she finds. It's things that I never even saw before that I needed to see. Oh, that would be great with the babies. I remember back when I used to, I think it was last year, and we used to, I would go live real late, and you'd feed the Ricky and the raccoons, the raccoon babies. Yeah, that was nice. So thank you for the update. Oh, I did a 16-hour live stream. We're covering trials and different trials I react to, and I was pushing all the way into the morning, and I kept on doing it. And eventually, because I have one of our people in Australia, and we did this experimental stream. It went all the way like to 16 hours, and it was that I felt wild, definitely. So I've been having some streaming adventures with chat, and I've been exploring YouTube in general, and uh, it's been a fun journey. Hunky says Philadelphia experiment, a secret military experiment in 1943, accidentally caused a ship to become invisible, teleport hundreds of miles, and experience horrifying side effects for its crew. Thank you, Moki. That's wild. Wow. Yeah, because the radiation and the other laws of physics being defied. Yeah, they had all this technology the whole time. Like, yeah, the technology the whole time was like this. And I just think that with these whistleblowers, I just want to see what they had to say. And when you look what they had to say, it makes sense what they're saying. Yeah, the when you're defying space and time like that, and the crew or whatever the people inside of it are not being cared for properly, it's going to cause catastrophic problems for the crew. Absolutely. All right, and Shelly, this dude was he did suicide with quotations, right? Allegedly suicide. That's what they're saying. But he was a whistleblower that sounds very wild, but he fought he's like a firefighter that was fighting, and he was in this government program, and he got into like a fight, like a kind of like a little battle with a gray alien group. He also was talking about the government secrets of UFOs, and at the back in like the old west, they some cowboy people found these like a UFO and some gray aliens in a cave. It's a very interesting story, but he was silenced and censored, so that's kind of suspicious that his life was taken and all the information he had was taken too. If he was just doing some fiction, it wouldn't make sense for this all to happen. And he said if he was deleting himself, if he did suicide, it was actually a murder, and there was attempts on his life. So that's something else that was occurring with this lecture he's giving. All right.
Now, boring machines, for instance, they don't bore. They literally vitrify and melt the rock, deflagrate the rock. It's a very sophisticated laser melting and deflagrating system. It reduces the rock to a powder and then melts the remaining rock as a coating on the inside of the base, so you don't have to use gunite cements and other kinds of things like that. That's all old hat now. Technology is just basically the new technology we get is the old hat of the military. I'm going to be real brief about it. I carried a level 1 security clearance, the Rhyolite 38 factor. There are very few of us. There's nobody except myself, to my knowledge, talking like this. Nobody. I'm breaking the law. I'm breaking world as well as federal law. I'm coming out and even talking about this to a group of people. I love my country more than I love my life. 2 weeks ago, I was shot in the shoulder. I don't want to gore you women out, but I was shot in the shoulder up here. I recently have become friends of a retired FBI agent who took me under the wing. He says, I've never seen a person braver than you. And I said, well, there's more coming. Our patriot movement in these United States is going to pick up the ball, and we are going to kick the parasites out. First of all, George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, a few other founding fathers, Patrick Henry to mention a few, all had visions that these United States is going to live 700 years from where they were standing, and that was somewhere around the late 1700s, early 1800s. So you can count this country. This country isn't going to go to a new world order. I believe firmly in constitutional law. I'm not very well skilled in it, and that's my embarrassment. But I'm going to be real blunt about it. The government that is now instilled in ruling over us are ruling as we're serfs and they're the kings and queens. Now, that's a feudal system. That isn't even a democracy. We are now being ruled by an autocracy and a technocracy. In other words, technical knowledge as rules as king, with a feudal type system. Feudal systems haven't been used in the last 350 years, and they're coming back like gangbusters. If we are complacent, if we do not speak out in droves, and I'm not just talking about me, I'm talking about a bunch of us getting together and getting on this stump and loving our country more than we love our lives, getting on, some of us are going to get killed. I almost got killed a couple of weeks ago. Hadn't been for an FBI, a retired FBI man who risked his life, his career, everything, put it all on the line, and he didn't know me from Adam. A week prior to that, he listened to one of my tapes I gave up in Post Falls, Idaho, and I'm going to be very blunt about, he said that we need a lot more of you, but unfortunately we're not getting anybody. Well, I'm not the best speaker in the world, but I'm trying to relay to you that we need to get out and seriously get the message out. These shows are great. This hall should be absolutely packed, standing room only, and we should be getting the message out to as many people as we can with as many shows as it possibly to reach. The many is the public. We ought to get on talk shows. We've got to get on news shows and TV shows, and we have to really get the message out. And I think we're doing it, but it's a little bit slow in the first part. That's just that part of what I want to say. In working with the black projects, I was very loyal. I was picked because I was very strong mentally. There's a bunch of us that were picked because we don't crack under pressure. We don't freak under pressure, so to speak. Everyday events don't bother us. Now, I was involved in something very controversial, almost totally unbelievable to most of you. Some of you are religious people. I think all religions have a time and a place, and they definitely have a place in America. Now, another thing I want to reach to you is that during the unbelievable part, I was involved in building another base inside of Dulce, New Mexico, which is Los Alamos Laboratory. It's a biological laboratory. On the southwest part of the Archuleta Mesa, we built an underground facility, a better part of 3 cubic miles hollowed out underground. Then to the southwest of that, we were in the process of the early stages of building. We drilled 4 large tunnel-like holes. Some of them ran 2.5 miles under the surface. Number of the original wells or drilling machines that were used were at the rate of 2 miles a day. It was fairly rapid. The equipment kept coming up broken. So we wanted to go down, we wanted to send somebody down there, a human observer, or human observers in this case, to find out what was going on. Well, to our total surprise, first of all, the government knew all about it. They didn't tell anybody. When I saw Green Beret and Black Beret people encamped inside of our geologist camp, I knew something was up, the gig was up. First of all, I knew all about the alien agenda. I'll explain that in a few minutes. The large alien grays had been encamped there for as best as believed possible about 400 or 500 years. It had been one of their internal bases. And we drilled holes right on top of it. All the stinking air, all the black sooty air came right out as soon as the first hole was sunk, and all this soot came up, and well, that's when all the hell broke loose, really, all started. Anyway, after we drilled all 4 holes, it took about 2 days to drill all 4 of them. And when you build a underground base, you drill 4 basic holes, and then you build called stopes or cross-member holes across, and then you use blasting equipment, special blasting equipment by the analyzation of the rock formation, and you literally blast out or tunnel out or deflagrate or melt rock out to build the large rooms that are required for this underground base. Well, in this process, I was lowered down the basket of one of these holes, and about from me to this elderly woman here in the front was sitting a 7-foot-tall alien gray. The stench was worse than the worst garbage can you can imagine. The person was or the entity was absolutely horrible. I didn't waste any time. I reached for my pistol. At that time, as an engineer, I didn't have time to carry all the folderol of one of these big submachine guns that all the sea spray and the yellow fruit and all the outer perimeter and inner perimeter security people carried. I carried a little Walther PPK pistol with a 9-shot clip. This is in late August of 1979. Now, you got a regular suit of clothes, you got a regular clothes on, plus you're in almost like a spacesuit environment, and you're reaching for a gun. It's not the easiest thing to do, and then to pop a clip in it and start shooting. And I killed 2 of them. Yes, they're mortal, and they do die. However, in the process, one of them did this. All I remember is that he just kind of waved his hand in front of his chest, and the next thing I know, this blue beam hit me and just literally opened me up like a fish, and burnt my fingers right off of me. And it was some form of electrical force, because the kind of like being hit by a lightning bolt burned all my toenails off of me.
Right, so he's describing about this alleged battle he had with one of the gray aliens, and some of his hands are missing, etc. And I think the stench that they give off, they do talk about the aliens, the demons giving off a bad stench like sulfur. So that kind of correlates with that, because allegedly they secrete their waste through their skin. And yeah, he's referring to his time with being in that fight, and then he talks about how the alien does something and deflects. So yeah, it's certainly will be a very freaky thing to actually experience.
Completely crispy crittered my left foot, burnt the shoe right off of me. All I remember was the smoking remains, and I'm still conscious, but in and out of, I didn't remember much. And there was a Green Beret that was right behind me that risked his life. In fact, he died. But he risked his life. He shoved me back in the basket and hit the button and took me up. And I wouldn't be alive talking to you today if it wasn't for him. I'm forever indebted. He lost his life. 66 Secret Service agents, Green Berets, Black Berets, crack troops lost their lives because the government, our United States government, lied, did not tell us anything about the alien threat. There's a war underneath there, and I'm talking dead serious. It's been going on since that time. Since late August of 1979, our military, the Russian military, basically the military.
Mogi says Schneider was reportedly writing a book that detailed his experience with the deep underground military bases, DUMBs, and government alien cooperation. This manuscript was never recovered. Yeah, it sounds like they're trying to censor him exposing it. You know, if he was just somebody that was making all this up and faking everything, they wouldn't waste time on him. So, yeah. But they couldn't hide it forever. Eventually the truth came out. Alright, thank you for the info.
Militaries of the world have been in constant conflict with the outer space alien. The small gray, the large gray, the reptilians, the whole thing. There are 11 distinct races of aliens. 2 are benevolent. 1 had to leave here in a hurry because their world is under attack, both on the surface as well as underground. There, the Pleiadians. They're familiar. Maybe some of you are familiar with that. Would some of you raise your hands who've heard of Billy Meyer and some of the, very good, about half the group. Well, these are the benevolent aliens, and they've been here helping us. In fact, I have a picture, let me reach for it here. I have a picture of one of the aliens been working for the United States Pentagon for the last 58 years. His name is Val Valiant Thor. He's right here. There's my father in the background. This whole place, the ready room of the USS Eldridge, Al Bielek has probably explained, or maybe even shown you this picture. There's a list of some of the notable people in it. They're all the atomic bomb scientists of the day, all the time variant experimentalists of the day, all the top physicists of that particular day. This was in August of 1943. Now this guy has not changed one iota in 58 years. Started work, he came here, crashed here or whatever, whether he's under duress or not. He started work for our U.S. Navy and military operations in 1937, either 37 or 38 is what I've been told. So it's for 58 years, this man's been employed, probably under duress. If you don't do as we say, we're just going to use you for alien bait or something, I don't know. But anyway, he basically hasn't changed. He lives for 490 years, is what he says his lifespan is. Now, he is supposedly a semi-benevolent, he's a human-looking type person. He has...
Okay, they also took documents about his father's involvement with the Philadelphia experiment. Edward Albert Billy Mayer, born 1937, is a Swiss man famous for claiming regular physical contact with extraterrestrials, being called the Pleasurean since 1970s. Meyer has been widely characterized as a fraud by skeptics and UFOologists who suggest that he used models to hoax photos claimed to show alien spacecraft. Okay, thank you. Yeah. There are definitely a lot of hoaxes out there. Indeed, absolutely. Now, with Phil, his situation, it's bizarre that he was taken out the picture like that. That's the only thing that I would say is a red flag for me. But yeah, definitely. Thank you, Moki, for the information. And because they talk about the different races of aliens that are allegedly out there, and that we're in constant conflict with those aliens. Say, like, there's UFO sightings that happen, and those are just conflicts between us and them. And we could see in modern times, uh, well, wait, uh, back also in that time too, where in, for instance, the airplanes of the Air Force, they're able to see violating a secret treaty with the U.S. government regarding shared technology. Okay. For instance, there is a situation that has come out how the Air Force has depicted aliens, a UFO craft. They have depicted them, and we don't really know what they are. So that was something fascinating that we could see, even today. It is very cool to see some of the stuff he's talking about, like, play out in real time. Yeah, yeah, and I understand, like, why if they're coming up with a weapon to fight a country is important. Now, his reasoning for violating the treaty was to expose some nefarious, as we know, alien activity, which I I think was important to do. Ah, yes, yes. Yeah, the Malaysia plane incident, the yeah, that one that disappeared, right? And giving a complete recap about the Malaysia plane. I remember when that happened. 40 minutes after takeoff, the plane's transponder was manually switched off and disappearance from the civilian radar. Military radar later tracked it, making a sharp turn back across Malaysia. As 2025, it was, yeah, 2014. Yeah, I remember when it happened. Current status as of December 30, 2025, the a new 55-day deep sea search has resumed in the Indian Ocean. This effort, led by the exploration firm Ocean Infinity, uses advanced drones with the Malaysia government. Both involve high profile crafts, a ship, and a plane that supposedly vanished without a trace or explanation. Yeah, because that is what happened. The plane, it's similar to the Twilight Zone episode where the plane went into a time warp and went to the 1930s. So back then, they knew about these things. And there's been orbs that have orbited around planes before. Oh, awesome, Moki. The Matrix is something that we talk about in this channel a lot, and I've even done review on the movie before. So that's awesome. You have that on. All right. Okay. Have spawned new. Okay, so alien abduction or wormholes. Social media often circulates with or about Valden Thor. Okay, videos about showing the plane being surrounded by orbs or disappearing into portal. These videos are around loved ones' phones containing ring days and disappearances, leading to hope that they were alive, but nothing was found. Yep, I remember Valiant Thor. We've talked about that also here. A legendary alien figure contacted stories allegedly extraterrestrial from Venus who lived at the Pentagon for 3 years during the Eisenhower administration. Phil Schneider's story is famous link to Valiant Thor, an alleged extraterrestrial from Venus who supposedly lived in the Pentagon for 3 years. Yep. Thank you for that. That we've talked about that like last year. Yeah, so it was an alien from Venus that came to visit us, apparently. Okay. So yeah, this is part of the rabbit hole where he is connected to Valiant Thor. He also the Malaysian airline disappearance. No one knows where it went. It went into a wormhole, a void. We don't know. He was described as perfect human, appearing tall, gel black hair, no fingerprints, but possessed superhuman traits like telepathy and extreme intelligence. Okay, and now we will continue.
6 fingers and 6 toes, and he's got one oversized heart, one lung, giant lung. His blood vessels are bigger. He's got copper oxide for blood, similar to an octopus. His brain capacity 300 centimeters greater than ours. He has a thinking capacity, IQ. If you were to measure it, it'd be totally off the scale, be about a 1200 IQ. He speaks 100 languages fluently, alien as well as others. He's a remarkable person. I had a chance to meet him one time. Now, by the way, he doesn't shake hands. He was kind of in a spacesuit because all aliens, regardless benevolent or otherwise, they're carrying germs and diseases and bacterium in and on them that are deadly to us. If I were making policy, I'd quarantine them all, because how do we not know that some of our diseases like AIDS, Ebola, hantavirus, and a few of these other weird designer diseases, as I call them, are not made from the cadavers of some of these aliens as a biological weapon to use against the people of the United States? Well, I'm a tired American speaking out. Now, what I'm telling you is kind of almost like a brain overload here. Back in 1946, we set off a number, actually 4 atomic bomb tests at Bikini Atoll. It's a group of islands in the South Pacific. I have an original photograph here with original language on the photograph that shows there is a large alien spaceship off a wingtip of a United States aircraft. It was a drone aircraft right at the point where the bomb was beginning to show a neutron flash cloud. Here's the bomb going off. Here's the airplane tip here, and here is the alien spacecraft. Now, in 1947, questions later, please. In 1947, after Roswell debacle, our military got before the U.S. Senate. They were hauled before the U.S. Senate and says, what's going on here? Well, we didn't know anything about discs until this happened. It flopped in our backyard. Total lie. They lied to the U.S. Senate. They should have been prosecuted as traitors. Anybody lying to a United States Senator or House of Representative, any Senator or House of Representative person, President of the United States, Vice President, any cabinet member lying to the American public is a traitor and should be dealt with in an appropriate fashion.
Yeah, anybody that is not being transparent about giving out the information is a traitor. That's why I'm glad we have more information coming out about it than we did before. And very interesting pictures, yeah, about, people could argue if they're real or not, but it's a very detailed explanation about what it is.
This is actual proof, positive, that this occurred in 1946. Now, U.S. military knew all about flying discs, and flying disc technology is early, thoroughly early, is 1933. Of course, we remember the Germans did too, the Nazi Germans, Hitler and all their bunch of people. Now, it gets to the big question, if all this has been hidden from us, everybody says, well, where's the proof? I've got some of the proof laying on the table. But a lot of you probably are totally skeptical. They say, well, I could be anything. In my hand here, I have a piece of what's called corbamite. It's the heaviest element in the world. Element 140. This piece of material weighs 15 ounces. 3.5 times the weight of uranium. It cannot be made to emit gamma rays. It cannot be isotoped. It is totally stable. It is used in all stealth aircraft and all Phoenix-class submarines. When combined...
He allegedly offered the Eisenhower administration... By the way, Valiant Thor repeatedly left the Earth on March 16, 1960. And he allegedly offered Eisenhower administration medical breakthrough curing all diseases and clean energy technology that would eliminate the need for oil and gas. In exchange, the U.S. had to agree to nuclear disarmament. Wow. The Joint Chief of Staff and intelligence officials reportedly advised President against deal, fearing it would collapse a global economy based on oil and leave U.S. defenseless. Yeah, that would not be good. Mm-hmm. They usually talk about nuclear disarmament and global peace, etc. But as I said, I don't know. I know they apparently want humans to have peace. I don't know what their real intentions are, though, when they say things like that. Yep, we've heard that before. Yeah, and oil and gas. Yeah, just like today, we have pushing green energy and denuclearization. Now, there are theories that politically, that the aliens have influenced the political ideologies that we see. There's theories that they're communistic, etc., or want denuclearization, etc., for reasons that I'm not quite sure what their intentions are. So yeah, yes, we have talked about this before, and I just reacting to it again. It would be suspicious if they're trying to do an alien invasion and they don't want us having nuclear weapons. Like, I would just be curious what their true motives would be. So I'm glad they didn't do it, I suppose. because if everything's energy based and not gas or oil, if some kind of power pulse or something happens, it could knock out the electric cars. Yeah, as I said, I'm just making these speculations about what the real intentions of that could be.
Combined with other alien elements, it is impregnable. It cannot be melted with charged particle beam weapon. When properly combined in secretive compounds, it can withstand temperatures in excess of 10 million degrees Fahrenheit. Is grown by aliens who have given a good... The other side of the alien question is, some of these aliens have broken off from their mainstream and said, we're not getting a fair shake, and so this is what happens. I'm talking about the alien grays. Some of them broken away. They're talk about not being popular. This particular piece of metal is an amazing piece of technology. It's capable of being grown in 15 different crystal systems. Now, I'm a geologist, and I, prior to 15 or 20 years ago, knew of only 6 crystal systems. And it's actually 15, if you count all the alien metals. Now, this is only element 140. If you look at the local periodic table in your local library, it says 104. Somewhere down the line, we've been lied to, we've been cheated. What we have to do is we have to literally ask for the truth. If we cannot ask for the truth, we must demand the truth. We must take it before courts of law and common law systems.
All right, Moki says the military was reportedly more interested in weaponizing Thor's technology than using it for peaceful advancement, which Thor refused to allow. Oh, so the Earthlings, the humans, wanted to weaponize the shouts of Mary Toodles. They wanted to weaponize the technology that he was bringing forth. Okay. And the other ones wanted it for peace. Okay. Well, he was trying to give people technology for peace, and they used it for war. That is, I could see where the alien would be frustrated over that, but just, it's in the human nature to, for whatever reason, to go down the dark path. Duke, the Phil should have brought pics for all this. I can't see the mini pic. Grin. Yeah, you see, Duke, back in the... I guess now they would have had a projector and put it on the screen for us to see it better. If somehow we're able to get bigger pictures of them, we'll show them. But yeah, I think it also has to do with the time period. And that's shout to Duke. All right. Mogi says Schneider stated that the highest levels of the Pentagon alien entities were actually working side by side with human officials to implement the NWO, the One World Government agenda. Yeah, and I'm not even gonna call the aliens fallen angels, but I'll say that at this moment, I'll say that the fallen sons of God were predicted to rule over the earth. So that's kind of foreshadowing that. Schneider claims while Valiant Thor was benevolent Nordic type, the Shadow Society was actually in league with a more malevolent group of Tall Greys. Okay, I've understood. Tall Greys must be 45s or whatever, and not what J-Rod was. That's true. J-Rod is a completely different terrain right there. Yep. Yeah, J-Rod is not a Tall Grey.
And we must demand it. If we cannot do this, our founding fathers told us the only thing left is to overthrow. to get the parasites out. I don't advocate overthrow, but it does look like this may be the only alternative. Now, I'm going to casually mention to you something that's very scary indeed, and tell you what the alien agenda is. And it's going to sound very familiar. The alien agenda is the complete takeover of this planet, the killing off of 5, 6 to 7/8 of the world's population by the year 2029. U.S. military has known about this for 45 years. They've told no one. As far as I know, I'm the only person standing before a crowd talking about the alien agenda, secretively. Okay. Back in 1954, I'll give you a quick overview. There was the created 1954 treaty where Eisenhower signed a pact with the known alien species of the time. There were 3 at the time. And said that we're going to deal in high technology, but you can take a few head of cattle and a few human beings and you can experiment on them. It's unthinkable. It's stuff straight out of the Nazi death camps, and I'm kidding you not, it's plain BS, and it's got to stop. Now, the created 1954 treaty had been violated. After the great firefight, the alien-human war, I am the only living survivor talking about it worldwide at all. Only one. The other 2 are in nursing homes in Canada, and the Canadian government refuses to allow any U.S. people, including myself, to talk to them because they are afraid of kidnapping. Probably the reason I got shot to pieces and 11 attempts on my life is I am a direct threat to the entire system. The New World Order, the alien agenda is one and the same. It's world takeover and the decimation of the population of this planet. Now, I'm going to tell you something a little bit different about the alien species. The bad news ones, there are 9 races of alien populations. So look at a human being as a bag of food. They're not cannibals. They don't eat the flesh and the bones and all that kind of stuff. They use the glandular secretions of animals and human beings as a mixture of the vitamins for their food. They get high off of our adrenal gland substances called adrenal chrome. It's something like cocaine to them. Now, what can we do about it? Right now, if we do nothing, we can do nothing about it, and it'll continue to go on. Basically, we'll be led in the dark, and you'll keep seeing more and more people disappear. Right now, there's 100,000 children totally unaccountable through FBI archives, cannot be traced anywhere. They haven't been murdered. Nobody's ever seen them. I think they're hauled underneath in some of these bases, and they are summarily done away with, and they are literally eaten. Now, that is a scary thing indeed. And I'm not asking you to believe me in toto. I am asking you to seriously do enough homework that you can go out in through the public record, through the congressional records, find out who's voting for what, and go from there. Do your own program, do your own agenda, and do your own speaking out. And if enough of us do this, there is some saving grace.
Exactly, Moki, and this is exactly what we have been hearing now in our time, especially with the children and the adrenochrome. Just like with recently, the Epstein files have been released, and there's been talks for a long time about the adrenochrome being used, being harvested from children and the human trafficking of children, etc. And this person only was talking about in this time period about that, and exactly what we're talking about now, and the secret societies. And he's referring to the vaccines and about the coof. It's all ties in together, and y'all have heard me talk about this for years on different places and here, etc., about the coof, about the different conspiracy theories about the elites. You see, this is all tying into everything. Yes, the Illuminati got the adrenochrome info from the bad aliens. That is true. And remember, my buddy and I would talk about growing up about this. The evil aliens were harvesting pain and suffering from people. We just didn't know exactly what it was they were getting, but they would get like an energy from it. But that's what it is, endochrome. You see, this ties it in. It connects the dots about this entire situation. And as I said, when you hear this, for those that watch trials with me, we've heard this when you're hearing evidence in a case. It all just adds up together to make it the way it is. That of a guilty of verdict right here. That's certainly what it would be. I would think, because especially he was brutally, like in my opinion, assassinated. They say he was suicidal, but it's a odd time for him to get suicidal all of a sudden. Yeah, I just think that's a red flag for me, that he was taken out the picture. Yeah, the ritualistic violence and the adrenochrome. When they say it's not true, it actually is true. All right, and I'll explain. He wrote, "Till today, he learned you can no longer say nursing or breastfeeding a mother. You have to say chest feeding, just FYI." And critics argued and joke fueled the different movements, and right there, so that explains what that was about. All right, so there's adrenochrome and face wearing. Some gruesome claims that they tore off girls' faces and wore them as masks. That's what Ed Gein did. Ed Gein from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie is based off of. He was a creep that viewer discretion is advised. Although what we're talking about is already gruesome enough. He wore the skin of his victims and people he dug up from the grave as a mask, and he would use it as furniture. That's what these people do. Right. Phil Schneider was. There were 129 deep underground military bases, DUMs, in the United States, approximately 1,477 worldwide. Wow. Yeah, see, that confirms the Epstein stuff. Because it's a global. You see, Moki, how people think the aliens are a distraction from Epstein, and Epstein's a distraction from the aliens, but it's part of one big giant thing. It's all connected as one. That's what people don't understand. His file dump that he's doing was part of a large scale thing. Ah, okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was wondering for a second. This thing wasn't really. Uh, it didn't. I didn't put the. It must not have understood what I meant. All right, so Anthony Weiner. Oh, I remember about Weiner. Pronunciation's probably Weinar, like the Will My Republic of Cringe. By the way, this stuff is a lot like the Weimar Republic of Germany. That was a disgrace and a blasphemy to Earth. And Oki says in a series of now deleted posts, Wilson detailed mocking instructions on the beast way babies using absurdly clinical language. He posted about choking babies like Chrissy Teigen. Okay, thank you. Yeah, 'cause I was like, there had to be something else there. Yeah, thank you, Moki, very much. All right, so yeah. Adrenochrome is a chemical compound produced by the oxidation of adrenaline while it exists as a laboratory. Is portrayed popular culture and byproduct of adrenaline that can be synthesized for research. So, yep, that's what it is. Yes, correct movie. Yep. I remember when that was coming out, by the way. Yeah, he did. I saw the photo of him, but never watched the official know his name. Right. Yeah, that was a very controversial thing at the time, and that was proving that these establishment, these elites, were behind all the stuff that was going on. Definitely. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, shout out to Moki for explaining this very crucial information. Right.
However, we don't have a whole heap of time left. Technological governments on this planet are raping the planet. We're going to run out of everything that we need. They're going to pollute everything in sight in the better part of 20 years. Now, I know you've heard some poppycock stories. Oh, we're going to run out of coal. We're going to run out of gasoline. We're going to run out of this, that, and the other. And 25 and 30 years ago, you heard all this hogwash. Well, don't believe it. Basically, anything you read in a paper, you should take with a grain of salt. Start reading on what is missing out of the article. Ask yourself, what's missing in this article that I should know? Maybe that's the truth. Fill in the blank spots, so to speak. White copy is only one leg of the triangle. There are two other legs, two other pieces of the puzzle. What we have to do as a group of people, concerned people at that, and this group seems to be quite that, is we have to assert ourselves in a way that we've never thought possible. Now, I'm not asking you to do what I'm doing. I'm telling you, what I'm doing is very important. Every one of you is equally important. You wouldn't be in this room otherwise. You know, all these other people out here that didn't come to the lecture, they really don't want to hear it. Yesterday I heard a fellow that says, I'm sorry to say I belong to this military organization, that militant organization. I don't believe in the alien question. There's no proof of it. And so I show him an artifact, and he says, well, that's nice, and that could be lead. Well, I happen to know this isn't lead. It scratches diamond, and it's harder than that. Here's a sapphire that I found. When we blew a mountain apart, all these sapphires fell out. And sapphire has a hardness of 9 right next to the hardness of a...
All right, and yeah, shout out to Duke. Hey, Moki says, Phil said there are at least 7 to 9 major underground facilities in Nevada that fit his description of deep underground military bases, DUMBs. Because uh, Nevada is mostly legal federal land, and there's all kinds of nuclear experiments and tests that are done out there. So I wouldn't be surprised that something like this is going on there too, like this. So thank you for the that, because definitely it all adds up. It's all adding up with each other.
Diamond, this thing scratches the heck out of it. Just tear it apart. I'll tell you something. This technology is fine and dandy. At the risk of the human race, at the risk of one human life, it is totally worthless. We have to... The one beautiful thing about the United States of America is we value a human person's life. The minute we lose it, we are dead meat. It is tantamount that we get back to constitutional law, and for our officials not to believe in it or obey it. First of all, for a politician to say, well, I believe in the U.S. Constitution, but I believe in gun control. You can't be a master of two houses. It don't work. What you must do is tell that politician you are disobeying the Constitution of the United States that you're sworn to uphold, and you are in treason territory. Think about what you said. You have 30 days to make that apology. If you do not make that apology, you are a treasonous individual and should be prosecuted. Now, there's a few other things I want to run by you, and they're kind of in rapid fire order. Area 51 is only one base, one of the 131 bases. Of these 131 bases, I call Area 51 a mega base. It's got more than one base in it. It's Tonopah Test Range, Area 51, S2, S4, Groom Lake, and a host of others. Now, these mega bases are gobbling up our gross national product. Right now, we're spending 28% of the gross national product on building underground bases solely. That doesn't count for the defense budget. That doesn't count for the spare parts budget. Doesn't count for any of that at all. And the black budget is dead wrong. It sidesteps the United States Congress and its Constitution of its people and says you're a bunch of morons, you don't need to know. Well, a need-to-know basis is an executive order written during the Eisenhower era right after the Greada 1954 treaty and is treasonous and illegal in this country and should be overturned and abolished. Now, I believe in military preparedness. I believe in military secrecy to some extent. Because there's always going to be spies out there, and there are always going to be people that want your hunk of territory, your house, or your ground, maybe even a country like that. Yeah. Most of us remember what this crazy person in Russia, Zhirinovsky, had to say. We want Alaska back. Well, baby, you're not going to get Alaska back without a horrendous fight. Alaska is my land. I was born here in these United States. I have risked my life and limb for these United States, and I love my United States more than my life. And I will defend these United States against all foreign powers, foreign and domestic. Now, every one of you in this room have probably, to some extent, minor or major, done just that.
You see, he's emphasizing his dedication to the country and the forces in Russia that wanted Alaska back, and that's something good to know. That's something that was going on back then, and that is his passion and his courage is very admirable. Yeah, uh, yeah, including aliens. Right. Yeah, he's gonna fight the aliens too. Yeah. Okay. So because his story's quite unique, where he was fighting both fronts. He was fighting the fronts of the aliens and also the government and Russia as well. Yeah.
That. And that is what this country needs. Patriots you are, patriots you are becoming, patriots and Constitution builders you must continue to be. Now, all this alien thing is fine, except for one thing. The alien takeover is a serious threat. Kept totally out of the public view, off the surface, I'm sure the underground bases, without question, are being used as a place to house alien takeover. Alien takeover means the implementation of a one-world government. Direct opposite of constitutional law. Direct opposite of freedom of choice, freedom of religion, other freedoms that go with it. Right to bear arms. We are the militia of the United States. Every single person who believes in the Constitution of these United States and its Bill of Rights is a militia member. Are we going to tolerate what we've heard from Ruby Ridge? Are we going to tolerate what we've heard from Waco? Are we going to tolerate that a fertilizer bomb blew 6 sub-basement floors? And I'm telling you something about sub-basement floors of a World Trade Center. They're 29 feet thick each with 7 kinds of rebar reinforcement. The only weapon capable of doing such destruction and melting the concrete and extruding the rebar and the I-beam steel up to 6 feet in length longer than it originally was and melting the ends of it is a nuclear weapon. Now, the people they have in custody as fall guys may have been able to produce weapons and bombs and kill rabbis in New York, but I hate to tell you this, they did not have anything to do whatsoever with the World Trade Center bombing. The only thing used was a construction nuclear weapon. It was housed at Mather Air Force Base, the only place such things are kept. Incidentally, about Mather Air Force Base in Oklahoma City, Mather Air Force Base trucks were seen 2 weeks before the Alfred P. Murrah building got blown to pieces. Strange. I don't believe in coincidences. They're non sequitur. They cannot be proven mathematically, etc., etc. So they don't exist.
Yeah, the coincidences are. I agree with him about the. Also agree with him about the coincidences are not just coincidences. Okay, Milky, understood. Thank you. All right. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And by doing that, and that what we talk about tomorrow will be MK Ultra. Yes. Yeah. So basically, I do agree with him about no coincidences. That makes sense. I am. I'm liking what he's saying. He's saying some things I've not heard of before. I like his take on the World Trade Center bombing, but we know, unfortunately, they there's lots to talk about the World Trade Center, what exactly happened, but unfortunately, they took the both of them down. Yeah, and then the Tower 7 fall down for no reason on, like they were saying on the news that Tower 7 fell down, but it was still standing. Then a couple minutes later, it fell down. So that was kind of weird. But anyway, so very interesting perspective about what he has about these things.
However, Oklahoma City bombing, a fertilizer and a fuel oil bomb. Give me a break, folks. You can blow that one by my ears, but I'm not a dummy, and neither are you. Neither is anybody in this room. We've been lied to, and the lies have got to stop, and they must stop immediately. If our public officials cannot tell us the truth, then they cease to be public officials, and they are automatically guilty of treasonous acts and should be tried and convicted, and if necessary, jailed, whether it be house arrest or otherwise, before they can do any more damage. Janet Reno. Janet Reno is a confirmed lesbian. She got out in front of public TV and said so. Janet Reno cheated her way through law school. It's provable. It's on the congressional record. It's also in question. It's on the law school that she graduated from. Her record is not spotless. There are thousands, there are tens of thousands of fine police women that could have done an exemplary job in a similar aspect. Janet Reno is a murderer of our children and should not be tolerated to live.
Okie says, can you imagine public treason trials right now? Oh, I definitely think that the public treason trials are... Oh, that would be so cool to see. If, and I believe at some point they will happen. Because that certainly would be something that would get global attention through trials. And like imagine like the day when all this conspiracies are exposed and all these people that did these actions are put on trial for this stuff. That would be an incredible trial. I think would be one of the greatest trials that our civilization would have ever seen. Right, that would be one of the greatest ones. It would be much bigger than OJ or Depp or any of those trials. It would be, a whole tide. It would be like a giant tsunami, like a apocalyptic tsunami of a trial. Yeah, it would probably break the internet. Johnny Depp trial almost broke the internet. So yeah, that would be something very incredible one day to watch whenever they do it, because I believe it will happen one day. Ah, okay. Thank you for clarifying about that. He's referring to Waco here. That's why he hates Jeanette. Yes, understood.
Those that murder children, those that abuse children, those that sexually abused children should not suffer to live. The CS gas that was poured in onto the Waco complex of Mr. Koresh, CS, by the way, stands for cesium. Cesium is an atomic element. It's an isotope. It's a radioactive compound. It is deadly to people under the age of 10. Take one breath and their lungs are singed and they die in 72 hours or less. They poured that gas continuously for 48 hours on that compound. No, I don't believe in a lot of things. I don't believe anybody is that wicked that you have to kill them 100-fold over after they're dead. But this is the mentality of the people now ruling as kings and queens over us, and it must stop. If we allow another election to go by with the same ilk in the White House, we have only ourselves to blame. Now, this room isn't going to change the outcome of an election. I personally believe, I don't believe there's going to be another election. I believe martial law is going to hit this country before that happens, the way things are going. Because we refuse to stand up, we refuse to literally get out and risk our lives in talking. Now, some of us got jobs and families and great responsibilities, greater than I have. And I agree, that's tough. It's very hard. I cannot sympathize with you because I'm not in your situation. I have a young family. I have an ex-wife and child. Defense Intelligence Agency goons tried to kidnap my daughter not too long ago. My ex-wife, working in the state government services in Oregon, picked up her .22 handgun, shoved it in the back of the neck of this one person. Give me my daughter back. If I don't, I pull the trigger. Gave the daughter back. Good choice. Now, the remark that my ex-wife had to say to this individual was, if I ever see you again in any way, shape, or form, I will kill you on sight. You're an abuser of children, therefore I suffer to you that you should not live. By the way, she threatened a federal agent. She should be in jail, blah, blah, blah. Nothing like that's happened. These people don't want publicity. I shot a federal agent 16 days ago. Shot him dead when I was bleeding to death with a shoulder wound that he'd shot me. He had shot at a retired FBI agent who theoretically he carries the same covering as a Secret Service agent. Got protection forever. He's a cop forever, federal cop forever. Now, that doesn't mean a whole lot. I made a report and went to the FBI. Do you realize, you know what they said? They said, things like this happen, Mr. Schneider. We don't either believe you, I'm using that as my own italics, or we don't give a damn. Now, something's wrong here. I'm not reading this right. I defended myself to the best of my ability. I was hoping I could go through life without doing such a thing. And maybe some of you have actually defended your own life in a similar fashion. It's very sad you have to shoot or kill somebody. Maybe some of you were police officers and have had to do the same. And I don't know if you ever kill a human being, you're never the same as a person who never has killed a human being. It is with you for the rest of your days. Whether you do it in war, whether you do it in murder, whether you do it in self-defense, you have taken one of God's holy creations off this planet. And there is a void there. And I feel that, and I'm very sorry for that. But I had to defend myself. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. My message must continue. I'm doing it on my own money. And I'll continue to do it. As long as it takes. As long as I've got to live. I've got cancer, I'm dying. The radioactive substance that I got hit with in 1979, late August of 79, it's a similar form of aplastic anemia. It affects your blood and your bones. My bones are extremely brittle right now.
Yeah, the aliens are known to be associated with high amounts of radiation, especially the objects that they have, too. They're not objects, but their equipment and stuff is radioactive, in my opinion. But, of course, that's what I researched, but there you go.
No cure. The government never told me about that, by the way. Now, to sum up everything in this talk, There's going to be a few questions. I'll answer as many as I can for the next speaker. However, I want to sum up and say that every one of you in this room is a participant in secret things, and you're very brave indeed, and you should all turn around to one another and shake each other's hand and say thank you for being here. Would you please do that and greet your neighbor? Now, this is the way the world should be. There wouldn't be any wars. There wouldn't be any strife. Or if there was, it could be settled in a peaceable manner in a handshake. And that's the original American way. And I believe that way is still there, however remote at present time. Now, I'm going to sum up this talk and mention an overview of the alien agenda. The alien agenda is completely decimate the planet, to take the remaining human subjects as slaves, and the aliens would use this planet for their own means. Number one, this cannot be allowed to happen. The world takeover plans of the New World Order, a direct carbon copy blueprint from Adolf Hitler's routine of 1933 to 1938, must not be allowed to happen. That includes the name, the New World Order. That was purposely used, folks, because most of us have been lazy. We have not read our history, and I'm talking to you because I'm one of them. We have not read our history books. Things have been omitted. Throw out basically what you've learned. I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm asking you to re-educate each one of yourselves and ask the unexpected of your public officials, of the people around you, your teachers. I'm not asking you to question authority. I'm asking you to question the teachers of this authority. Is this right? Is this law correct? If a law, one of the best statements to ever come out of the mouth of any human being, believe it or not, was, I think, by an incredible black man, the name of not Jesse Jackson, but it was Martin Luther King, said, an injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. That should be a motto that we live by. Not so much for the man who said the motto, but I'm sure George Washington said something similar, who said, an uninformed populace is a populace in slavery. Now, our founding fathers had the unique gift 250 odd years ago, 200 to 250 years ago, of looking far in advance, laying out the groundwork of this wonderful two pieces of paper government we've got, the Bill of Rights and the United States Constitution, laying it out for all time. It is the best government probably since time immemorial, maybe the best ever. If we are to, by the way, every freedom that we have must be fought for continuously. You don't need to pick up a gun to fight for something. You need to pick up your mouth. You need to pick up your mouth and say, and when you hear somebody say, well, I believe in gun control, and you say, no, I don't believe in gun control, because guess what? You take away that right. What other rights am I going to be missing later on? Now, with gun control, there's a certain few people, generally a 1% to 2% minority of people, that are totally irresponsible, criminal, use a gun improperly, etc., etc. I'm not talking about those kind of people. There are always going to be those kind of people, at least for the foreseeable future. The average person that owns a gun has prudence, has conscious thought of the knowledge of right and wrong, can and is able to defend itself, herself, himself, against foreign and domestic terrorists, so to speak. Now, gun control is an attack on your rights. If it is allowed to fully comply and go through, all of your freedoms will be removed within a 10-year period after the last element of gun control. So the attack of any right or the removal of any existing right is an attack and affront on every one of us in this room and should not be tolerated. That's that part of the talk. The overview is about underground mountain bases. All of them should be made public. In future talks, I'll be giving latitudes and longitudes of every single one of these bases. I've already written a manuscript at the publisher as we speak. It's a dynamite book. It lists all the secretive agendas that our government has us believing in right now and why it's so much BS. Why the New World Order is so good for us. Ha ha. Well, don't believe it, folks. Believe in only one thing. Love thy neighbor as thyself, and ask continually questions about our constitutional freedoms, and defend them if necessary. And most of us will have to probably defend them. I hope this doesn't happen. Now, I'm winding up this talk as best as I can without my notes at hand, but I'll be having artifacts up here. You're capable of looking at them. I ask you not to handle them. I want all the artifacts back on the table, and don't handle the photograph here, original photograph of the flying saucer in 1946. Now I'll take a certain few questions. I know there's going to be quite a few of them. Yes, this gentleman here in this row. I've heard of Project HARP. I don't really know that much.
Designed to electrify the ionosphere, and they will be able to map all the underground bases. There was a crash of a Air Force plane up in Alaska last week, and AWAC plane. And it was on the last day of a Project HARP demonstration.
Okay. Yes, I've heard of such projects. Actually, it was invented by Nikola Tesla, the initial part of ionizing the atmosphere. The only trouble is with ionizing the atmosphere, plants need nightfall as well as sunlight to survive. So lighting up the atmosphere might do extreme damage. Okay, next question. This gentleman up in the front row. Please speak up.
Thank you for taking the question. My question I'd like to ask is this. If the aliens have a 1,200 IQ, can speak all these languages, and are so powerful, what prevents them from just taking over?
Well, it's a good question. Basically, they have taken over. All that's left is a bunch of screaming, a bunch of us that have been very complacent. Half of the 131 deep underground military bases are basic cities for them. Right underneath our feet is a macabre sight indeed. You can bet your bottom dollar they've already basically won the war. However, they're being an alien species. We're an alien species to them, and our germs have a tendency to kill them. They're also a dying race, and they're in far worse condition than anybody with the worst case of terminal cancer. They are in need of us to some degree. Okay. Yes, sir.
Yes, I heard a man speaking about the same things you have been speaking about down in Australia named Stan Deyo. Do you know that man?
Stan Deyo, yes, I've heard of him, but I don't know of him.
Are you aware of this asteroid headed toward the Earth?
Yes, Nemesis is called Nemesis. It's a brown star. It's probably hollow. It's maybe not a star at all. Has specific gravity of a little less than 2. 1.718 or something like that, which means it's extremely hollow and light. It has a mass of 10 times the size of Jupiter. It is so massive, it's dragging comets and meteoritic material with it, and space garbage and debris. It's dragging it at such a rate, just the debris encircling our solar system enough to destroy half the planets of it. So, yeah, it'll be a threat. It's headed for us right now. Supposedly it'll be here in 2052. Nobody knows for certain, or it'll be within closeness of the Earth, within 500 million miles, which is plenty close indeed. Okay, a few more questions. I got to wrap it up here. This lady here. No, you have to use the microphone. Nobody can hear you.
Do you correlate the foreign forces with the Soviets?
Right, and Stan Diosis, an American-born author and researcher who has lived in Australia for several decades. He is best known for his work on alternative propulsion systems, UFOs, and global global survivalism. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Excellent info.
The Soviet forces, the foreign forces, all of us have an alien war going on. The Red Chinese right now are getting it in full brunt. The Russians are shooting down per province. There are about 9 provinces in their motherland. They're shooting down at the rate of 50 of these saucers per month and ships. They're heaping piles of them in outer Mongolia. Mountains of them. They just tow them out there and let them sit out there. Yeah. You please use the microphone. Nobody can hear you.
Does the alien agenda dictate the agenda of the world globalists right now? The people that want world government?
Yes, they do in total and entirety. They may even be in charge.
And are some of our high-level officials, perhaps from the president on down, are they aware of this?
Yes, they are. They're all aware of it.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the name of your book and when will it be out?
Well, I have several names of the book. Basically, I'm calling myself Government Secrets Revealed. Government Secrets Revealed, and please don't handle a picture. I've asked, please, not to. You look at the artifacts, but don't handle them. Okay. And the Government Secrets Revealed should be out within 2 to 3 weeks at the outset. Yes, sir.
Where can you get this book? Where will it be out?
I'll have it in a brochure. I can't tell you right now. Yes, sir. The person behind you, and then the person behind that, and that'll be the.
Okay, Phil, I want to say thank you and God bless you for what you're dodoing. It takes a big man like you to do it, man.
Thank you.
What I wanted to emphasize here, I'll make it real quick, is that what can we as humanoids do to...
We're not humanoids, we're humans.
Humans, all right. Well, anyway, what can we do to stop this?
By doing exactly what we're doing right now.
I mean, gathering,
listening, and...
Yeah, that is very strange about it being missing. The manuscripts and his book and all these different topics he was trying to write. Yeah, very bizarre, indeed. Yeah, humanoids. Yeah, that was a good one. The manuscript being missing is another reason why it's very suspicious circumstances. You know, it sounds like some nefarious humanoid activity.
And what I'm doing, getting out in the public and talking about it.
Okay, also,
No, I don't fear ridicule. If someone wants to call me a brand X nut, well, I can't reach that person. I'm sorry for him.
yeah. I'm well aware of what's going on with Area 51, and I know that we're capable of going into the future right now and coming back.
Can you please use the microphone? Or is the microphone going dead down there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm well aware that our country is capable of going into the future right now and coming back through the
Please make this short. What is your question, sir?
How far can we go into knowing what's happening with the aliens in Area 51? How far can we get into the knowledge of this?
We're already full-fledged into the knowledge of this right now. How far can we go? We can go a lot further. We have to defeat the alien threat. Otherwise, we have no chance at all. There won't be a New World Order either.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Okay. Let's take this last gentleman here.
Did the United States government intentionally enter into an agreement with the aliens back in 1940? Let's see.
1954.
1954.
Yes, they intentionally, they knew full well what their capacity was. They intentionally did so, supposedly on the premise that they were buying time to get arranged, and this wasn't true. This was a lie dished out to the public and the people in the know at the time, all the MJ members, et cetera, et cetera. It did buy time, but at a great cost. As we speak, as I'm speaking, rather, about 6 million to 7 million human beings have been slaughtered by the aliens at the present time, unaccounted for. And of course, there's a 1,000 lies to say where they went or where they didn't go.
Okay.
I'm telling you right now that the lies and innuendo not only have to stop, if we don't believe in them anymore, they're going to stop, guaranteed.
One final question. The so-called ascension movement.
Know nothing of it. I don't mix.
You know nothing of it.
Nothing of it.
Okay. Thanks.
Can't hear you. Cannot hear you. If some of you are short and can't get up and see the artifacts, I'll try and explain them. But I ask you once again, please don't handle them. Well, most of this is very well camouflaged.
Yeah, so it says here that Phil Schneider was found dead in his home in Portland, Oregon. His death notice appeared in 1996 Oregonian newspaper. Oh, you're welcome. And yeah, this will be it for this stream. We had this part finished, and yeah, tomorrow we'll do the MK Ultra. All right, and so that'll be it for tonight, and we'll do the MK Ultra one tomorrow. All right, and okay, so let's just do this. Okay, good night, Moki. And everybody, that is all we're going to be doing for the night. And tomorrow we're going to do the reaction to the MK Ultra video. And thank you all for coming and hanging out with me, and peace.